There's a reason we're scared of the dark. That familiar discomfort when you're driving alone at night, even if you don't see anyone on the road around you. It's instinct, a warning built into your bones, because there are things out there, beings we can't explain. They don't show up on camera, they don't care about your pepper spray, but they follow rules, ancient ones, rituals maybe. I don't know where they come from or who made them, but I've learned this much. If you follow the rules, they'll leave you alone. I just never thought I'd experience something like that behind the wheel of a damn cab. People think being a rideshare driver is simple, and they're right, for the most part. You drive, you talk if they want to talk, you drop them off. You get paid. No real boss breathing down your neck, no office politics, no deadlines. Just the road, your car, and a playlist long enough to keep you entertained between rides. That's why I started doing it in the first place. After I left my old job, I didn't want to deal with people anymore. Not really. I'd been a mechanic for 20 years. Ran my own shop until my knees gave out and my business went to hell. The rideshare apps came at the right time. I didn't have to smile if I didn't want to. I didn't have to fix anybody's problems. Just get them where they were going. During the day, it's easy. College kids heading to class, nurses pulling doubles, grocery store runs for people without cars. Honest, quiet work. Sometimes I'd even enjoy the small talk. I liked hearing about their lives. Felt like I was doing something good, even if it was just 5 stars and a quiet thanks. But at night, things change. The air gets heavy, the people get strange. I remember when I first heard about the rules of the road after sundown. Not guidelines, not suggestions, rules. They show up on the app the second the sun begins to set. And if you break one, well, let's just say you don't want to find out what happens. I'm sure this is very confusing to hear for the first time, so let me explain. Every night shift starts the same. Right after sunset, the app buzzes and emits a strange sound. Not a standard chirp a notification makes. Something dull and stringy like a warning siren before a storm. On a much smaller scale, of course. The screen goes black just before a message appears in blocky text. Night shift protocol, active between sunset and sunrise. 1. Do not look at passengers directly. Use the rearview mirror if you must. 2. Do not accept payment greater than the cab fare. Never take gifts. 3. Only process one ride at a time. Never allow multiple passengers in your car. 4. Make sure your final passenger is dropped off before sunrise. I review them every time, even though I've got them memorized. I don't know if the app updates them or if something darker is watching to make sure I read them. Either way, I never skip that screen. At least I don't anymore. I made the mistake of ignoring the rules once, and that was one time too many. I never really was a superstitious man. Back when I started doing nights, I laughed. Rules like these felt like a joke, some edgy tech campaign or something. The kind of stuff that gets passed around on Halloween to show they're being hip and festive. But the thing is, these rules, they're the real deal. The consequences are even more real. I learned that the hard way. It started with something small. Just a guy who insisted on paying double. He said he appreciated my service. Said I looked tired and he wanted to bless me. He pulled out a crisp 100 and set it gently on the center console. I told him no. He insisted. I told him again. He smiled and slipped it into the cup holder. It's yours either way, man. I didn't touch it. Just left it there until he was gone. I mean, what's the harm? The guy looked unremarkable after all. A middle-aged gentleman with slicked back salt and pepper hair, reading glasses, t-shirt and a vest, gave me easygoing surfer vibes. Then I looked up in the mirror. He was still there. I heard him leave, heard the door shut behind him, and saw him disappear into the dark. But he was there, grinning. His eyes were all black. He mouthed something, but the words didn't match the movement, like a broken puppet trying to whisper a prayer. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I reached back, heart pounding. The seat was empty. He was nowhere to be found, except for the mirror. He stayed there for the rest of the drive, just smiling and chatting away. I parked my cab in the farthest corner of my apartment's lot, locked the doors, and went inside. That $100 bill stayed exactly where it was, untouched, humming with some quiet, invisible pressure. I could feel its presence everywhere I went. Something was trying to make me go back for it. Spend it, maybe. I wasn't sure, but I needed help to make it go away. I contacted support through the app. There's no helpline, no human name. Just a form with one question. Describe your incident. I typed everything. The passenger, the tip, the mirror. I waited. I felt so silly. 24 hours later, I got a reply. Protocol breach acknowledged. Remedial steps required before shift may resume. Burn the foreign currency. Avoid seafood for 2 full days. Thanks for contacting technical support. That was it. No apology, no explanation, just instructions. I picked up the $100 bill like it was a loaded firearm and was surprised by the weight of it. I went out to the alley behind my complex and set it on fire in a soup can. The flames hissed green for a moment, then evaporated. It didn't smell like money burning, it smelled like salt and old fish. I skipped sushi that week. Thankfully, I am not much of a fish guy. By the 3rd night, the app let me log in again, and like nothing ever happened, the rides returned. It has been pretty smooth sailing ever since. Not every shift is terrifying. Some are just weird. Like the woman in the bright yellow dress who got in without saying a word and only whispered her destination. The bog. Or the man who didn't blink, stared straight ahead and screamed every time we passed a fire hydrant. The weirdest ride I ever gave was from last November. It was around 3:12 a.m., that dead stretch of time where the world feels empty. I was parked near the outskirts of town, engine idling, watching a moth dive repeatedly into the windshield. A ping came through. There was no address, just coordinates. I almost declined. Nobody lives way out there. It's all farmland and old sheds. But I was behind on rent, and I was pretty good at following the rules at this point. The profile picture was blank. Name just said M. Fine, I accepted. As I approached the pickup spot, my headlights hit something standing in the middle of the road. A man. No, a figure, very still. Dressed in old-fashioned clothes. Black hat, long coat, hands folded in front of him like he was at a funeral. I stopped. He didn't move. I glanced at the app. The pin was directly on him. Against my better judgment, I rolled down the window a few inches. Hey, are you M? The figure nodded once. I unlocked the doors and pulled up the rules panel on the app in my phone. Same rules as always. No change. I read over the first one for good measure. Do not look at passengers directly. Use the rearview mirror if you must. Right. He opened the back door and slid in. Didn't speak. Just sat there, the seat creaking under his weight. I pulled away from the shoulder and merged back onto the main road. The silence was suffocating. I snuck a glance into the rearview mirror. At first I saw nothing. Then the mirror fogged up, as if someone had breathed on it from the inside. I wiped away the condensation with my thumb and nearly jumped in my seat at what was revealed beneath. The figure in the back seat wasn't looking at me. It was holding something. A large postcard pressed flat against its face like a mask. Long fingers curled around the edges. Fingers with nails so long and yellow they looked rotted. Just the sight of them sent a cold wave down my spine. I leaned forward just slightly, enough to make out the writing. 2 words scrawled across the card in what looked like red ink. Or blood. I couldn't tell. "Just drive," it said. I didn't ask questions. I drove. For 40 minutes we cruised past silent fields, dead gas stations, and stretches of road I swear I'd never seen on any map. I didn't get a destination update. No timer. Just me, the road, and whatever was sitting behind me. The silence felt thicker than usual. The only sound was the low hum of the engine and the occasional creak of the frame, like the car itself felt uneasy. I kept checking the rear view, but the mirror kept fogging up. Over and over, I wiped it clean with the side of my hand, each time revealing the same thing. He was closer. At first, he was sitting upright, stiff, almost mannequin-like. Next time, he was leaning slightly forward. Then his knees were nearly touching the back of my seat. His hat was old and stained, the brim tipped just low enough to hide most of his face. Torn in one corner, frayed like it had been dragged through gravel. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could feel them, like heat on the back of my neck. A cold sweat was forming along my forehead. I didn't know what to do. No name, no timer, no destination. That had never happened before. I gripped the wheel tighter and kept driving, heart pounding louder than the tires on the asphalt. What do I do if he doesn't leave? What if he just sits there until the sun comes up? Something bad would happen. I didn't know what exactly, but I knew the rules. This wasn't just another creepy fare. At exactly 4 a.m., he tapped the window twice. I pulled over. Before I could say a word, the door creaked open and slammed shut. I checked the mirror. Fog gone, seat empty except for something left behind. There was a small envelope with one of those fancy wax seals. Inside was a bundle of tattered cash wrapped in a classy red bow. Not a cent over the fare. Thank God. I set it aside and sat there for a while, just breathing. The car was finally quiet. Still. That night feels like it happened ages ago. I'm more seasoned now. Passengers without destinations. Common occurrence these days. Took me a while to realize. They're not chasing a place. They're chasing a feeling, a reaction. They're insatiable like that. But I've learned a lot since then. I know better than to feed their desires. You give them the cold shoulder long enough and eventually they leave. These days I'm more composed, like a prison warden ferrying rowdy inmates. I even bought a pistol. It sits in the glove compartment, mostly idle. But if someone in the back gets bold, starts creeping too close, a little flash of the barrel is usually enough. They growl, they curse, slam the door behind them, cab fare left on the seat. Not a cent overpaid. I don't bother being gentle. It's not like they can tip me. But tonight, I am feeling a bit more anxious than usual. It isn't because of the job. Supernatural cab passengers are a walk in the park compared to what I have in store tomorrow. My son's getting married. I haven't been part of his life. Not really. That was my fault. I kept my distance after the divorce, told myself he'd be better off without me hovering around. No awkward visits, no clumsy father-son talks, just space. But when the invitation came, I cried. I just sat on the couch clutching that envelope and cried like I hadn't in years. There was no way I was missing it. I've missed too much already. I should be resting right now, getting ready for the big day. But I needed to calm my nerves. For some odd reason, this job does it for me. Midnight hits. The app dings. First ride of the night. I take a deep breath and swipe to accept. Gotta focus. Just get through the shift, then it's straight to the hotel, change into the suit, and head to the ceremony. The guy who gets in looks normal. Collared shirt, dark jeans, clean cut. He slides into the back seat without a word at first. I start driving. A few blocks in, he speaks up. Big night? I nod. Yeah, my son's getting married tomorrow. Oh, that's great. What's his name? I hesitate. James. He repeats it real slow. James. Strong name. What time's the wedding? 2, I say, eyes fixed on the road. He grins. That's wonderful. You must be proud. I give a tight smile but don't answer. Something about the way he's asking all this makes me uneasy. It's not the questions. People make small talk all the time. It's the way he leans in when he speaks, like he already knows the answers. Like he's confirming something. We pull up to his drop-off. He thanks me, steps out and just stands there on the curb, staring through the rear window. I look straight ahead and pretend not to notice. After a few seconds, he disappears into the dark. I sit there in silence, hands still on the wheel. That was strange, even stranger than usual. Then it hits me. The rules. I forgot to check the rules tonight. I pulled up the app and swiped to the rules section. Crap. There's a new rule. Don't talk to the passengers about your personal life. I stare at the screen like maybe I'm reading it wrong. Like maybe it's always been there and I just never noticed. But I know better. That rule wasn't there yesterday. My heart starts pounding. I pull over, open the app, and send a message to support. Something simple. There's a new rule, I broke it. How bad is this? What should I do? No reply. Silence ensued. Last time I broke the rules, it took 24 hours to respond. And I don't have 24 hours. Eventually, I pull back onto the road. I figure I'll do a couple more drop-offs, keep things simple. Maybe if I don't mess up again, everything will smooth over. The next few passengers seem normal enough, quiet. But there's this weird vibe, a kind of smugness. A few of them chuckle under their breath. One guy keeps stealing glances at me in the rear view like I'm the punchline to some inside joke. Another girl won't stop smiling. Just this too wide grin like she knows some deep, dark secret about me. It starts to wear on me. By the third ride like that, my stomach's turning. And then it gets worse. My next pickup is a woman standing alone on the corner in full wedding attire. A long white dress, veil, bouquet. It looks new, clean. Not like a Halloween thing. This looks real, expensive. She doesn't speak when she gets in, just hums softly. Then she starts singing, "Here Comes the Bride," over and over, whispered off-key, like she's only half remembering the melody. The hair on my arm stands up. I drive in silence, try not to react. She keeps singing all the way to her destination. And just before she opens the door, she leans forward and whispers, "So, when's the wedding?" I say nothing. She tilts her head like a confused bird. Then she gets out and drifts off into the dark, dragging the bottom of the dress behind her. I'm breathing hard now, knuckles white on the wheel. Next ride, a guy in a wrinkled button-up shirt, tie hanging loose. He climbs in already shouting. He was a goddamn mechanic, and you know what? He was useless. Sat on his ass for 20 years and expects me to be grateful. I keep driving. He doesn't stop. My fiancée wants me to invite him, can you believe that? To my own wedding. She doesn't know the guy. Hell, I don't even know the guy. He starts banging his fist on the seat in rhythm, like he's working himself up to something. I glance in the rear view. Big mistake. His eyes are wide, wild, red around the edges. There's something shiny in his lap. For a second, I think it's a phone. It's not. Without warning, he raises a pistol, sticks it under his chin, and pulls the trigger. A deafening pop. The windshield doesn't shatter, but I hear the spray hit the back window. He slumps sideways. The door opens on its own like someone was helping him out. I hear his body land on the sidewalk with a thump and the door slams shut behind him. I don't stop, I don't check, I just keep driving. Like I said, I'm a seasoned driver now. Sad to say, this isn't the first time one of these loons popped themselves in the back seat to try and get me to turn around. I have bigger issues to worry about. The rule break hung heavy in my head, and I still haven't heard back from support. The next passenger looked relatively normal. Clean cut, mid-20s, button-down shirt tucked into dark jeans. He smiled as he climbed into the back seat. Polite nod. No words. The last few rides had been unsettling to say the least. But this guy felt different. Not better. Just different. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. Something in his silence felt smug. Like he already knew me, like we'd done this before. We drove for 15 minutes without a word. Then I pulled up to the hotel. He didn't move. I shifted into park and turned slightly, still not looking directly at him, just using the mirror. This is the address, you're good to go. He stared at me. No change in expression, no acknowledgement. And then I heard it. A knock on the driver's side window. Dad! I nearly jumped out of my skin. I turned and there he was, James, my son, in his dress shirt and slacks and standing outside the hotel, looking confused and a little nervous. The same hotel he and the groomsmen were staying at tonight. How could I forget? I forced a smile. Oh, hey son, just dropping someone off. You nervous for tomorrow? He squinted at me like something was off. Yeah, can we talk? My stomach tightened. I had to get this guy out of the car. Sure, just let me finish this ride. I'll come inside after, okay? His eyes drifted past me to the back seat. Troy, he said. I froze. The figure in the back seat leaned forward, resting his elbows casually on the front headrest. His smile widened. Hey man, can you believe this? I ran into your pops and figured we'd do a quick beer run before the big day. Hop in. My blood went cold. No, that isn't Troy, I thought to myself. But I couldn't tell James that. I don't know what would happen if I did. This was bad, really bad. No, James said, shaking his head in disbelief. Troy, you were just inside. You were with the guys. How did you get out here so fast? The figure didn't break character. He laughed like it was a shared joke between friends. James looked between us, clearly unnerved. Dad, who was that? I didn't wait for the thing in the back to answer. This couldn't go on any longer. I slammed the car into drive and tore out of the parking lot, tires screeching, engine roaring. In the mirror, James was yelling something, running after us. I couldn't hear him. You're gonna miss the wedding, the thing said, voice perfectly calm. That's not very fatherly of you. Shut up, I snapped. You're not getting in my head. Oh, come on, it cooed. Don't be like that. Your son talks about you all the time. To me, to everyone. I kept my eyes on the road, jaw clenched so tight I could feel it in my temples. Although he doesn't say good things, you're not a good father, Ben. Shut up, I hissed, tears bubbling in the corner of my eyes. You missed birthdays, missed milestones. What are you even doing now, trying to show up at the last second and pretend it means something? I gripped the wheel harder. I wanted to slam the brakes, throw open the door, and drag this thing out by whatever skin it had stolen. Oh, don't be like that, Ben. I have something that'll cheer you up, it whispered. Just keep driving all the way until the sun comes up. I have something to show you. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. My phone buzzed on the seat beside me. James, again. I didn't answer. The only sound in the car was the hum of the tires and that thing breathing behind me, waiting. I wasn't sure what to do now. The passenger gave me a drop-off and refused to get out. That hasn't really happened before. There's no way for me to force it out either, not without looking directly at it. If I couldn't get this guy to leave before the sun came up, I was screwed. It was useless. I pull over hard, tires kicking up dust on the shoulder of the road. The thing in the back doesn't flinch, just smiles like it's been waiting for this moment all night. I open the glove box and take out my Glock 45. "Oh," it says. "That didn't take long. You already getting tired of me, Ben?" I don't answer. I close my eyes and take a few deep breaths. "Oh, Ben, you don't have to do this. You're going to miss out on all the fun I have in store." I don't even turn around. I raise the gun behind me, steady my breathing, and pull the trigger. The shot is deafening in the confined space. I don't look. I just sit there, ears ringing, heart thudding. I wait for movement, for another voice, but there's nothing. I finally peek into the rearview mirror once again. It's slumped over in the seat, still smiling but quiet now, unmoving. I knew that wasn't going to kill this thing, but it still felt good. I just needed to shut it up for a minute. If it wasn't going to leave, so be it. I had to come to terms with that fact. I wasn't going to make it to the wedding. I was going to abandon my son again, this time for good. The least I could do was say sorry, tell him I loved him. I just wish I could have done it sooner. Damn it, I wish I had more time. I pull out my phone, hand shaking. I try to call James back, but it goes straight to voicemail. I speak through the lump in my throat. "Hey, it's Dad. I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I should have been there for you. I should have been better." The thing in the back seat was sitting upright now, dusting off its blood-soaked shirt and slicking back the loose hair where the bullet exited. I started to sob into the phone. "But I'm proud of you, James. I really am. Despite all my mistakes, you've done everything right, and I'm really, really happy I get to be at your wedding." The mimic was coughing now, pounding its chest with a closed fist. I heard a loud metallic clang as the bullet bounced off one of its teeth on the way out of its throat. I stifle a sob and take a deep breath before continuing. "I love you so much, James. I'll see you soon, buddy." I hang up, tears running down my face, fogging up the screen. I sat there in silence for a few minutes. I watched as an orange glow began to rise from the horizon. It was almost sunrise. I closed my eyes and gripped the steering wheel in grim anticipation. This was it. I wasn't sure what happened if I broke this rule, but I knew there was no coming back from it. Tech support wouldn't be able to help me out of this one. Then I hear clapping, soft and slow. I look up. In the rearview, I see the thing clapping and wearing a wide smile. Only this time it doesn't look as smug. It appears sincere. Genuine. "Nice job, Ben," it says. Really touching. It drops a handful of bills into the seat beside it and steps out of the vehicle. It ducks its head inside to give one final farewell. "Congrats on your son's wedding." Then it was gone, just before the sunrise. I'm not sure why it decided to leave. All the night passengers want something, a reaction, a release. Most of the time it is something mean-spirited. They crave anger, heartbreak, desperation. Maybe this one was benevolent. Maybe it needed to experience something heartfelt, something real. God knows I needed it too. I'm just glad it's all over. I didn't take any more rides for the rest of the night. I went home, scrubbed the blood off the back seat even though there wasn't any, changed the air freshener even though it still smelled new, took a long hot shower, put on the suit I hadn't worn in years. When I looked in the mirror, I almost didn't recognize myself. I didn't look any different, but I felt different. I wasn't ashamed of the man that looked back at me. I was going to be a new person. I knew it was too late to be a good dad. I've been away too long to fix that. But he would always be my son, and he needed to know that I was never going to abandon him again. I got in the car, not for work, just to drive, to the wedding. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something that almost scared me more than a lifetime of ferrying supernatural passengers: hope.